ticket it and make her name it gay!
That's not how the Force works.
I don't care!
G'day guys and welcome back to Casual Rage. Prepare to start the show, R2. This is where the fun begins. Hello everyone, welcome to Casual Rage 183, where we casually rage out about the topics of the week. Sorry I'm late, we're here, we're live, and we're late. We're actually late by a whole week, and then I was late this morning. It's because I was on Side Scrollers last night, or this morning I should say. 2 o'clock in the morning that show starts, and I literally, the reason why I had to push the stream back 15 minutes was because I literally woke up half an hour before the stream was supposed to start. This one. You can probably hear it in my voice. That's why I'm off screen for at least a little bit. I need to wake up. I don't like the way I look when my eyes are all puffy and my throat is all croaky. But we'll get through. We will get through. And I do apologize for not being here last weekend or last week. Last weekend, you may have seen in my community post, we had a death in the family. My grandma passed away. It was a little bit sad, obviously. But, you know, I will say she did have dementia and Alzheimer's for quite a while. It got to a point where, you know, we'd go and visit her and there's not even really any recognition of who we are. So it was like, you know, anyway, I don't really want to get too much into it. Funeral's coming up this weekend. I didn't even think about it. We've got Happy Hump Day and the funeral's on Wednesday. So I don't even know if I'm necessarily going to be out. I said we're definitely going to do a show next week because we didn't do it this week. I got to talk to the guys about that. I didn't even think about that. Anyway, like I said, we're here for Casual Rage. We've got a fair bit to talk about. Now, really, we've got a lot of stuff from last week. I've been so unplugged from the internet over the course of this last week because of obviously certain circumstances. And yeah, so I'm not really up to date. I saw something about Kathleen Kennedy and her leaving once she's got some sort of success under her belt, which I guess that means she's never leaving. Unless we troll her, right? So the next Star Wars movie that comes out, we just positive review bomb it so that she does leave. All the people that just hate Disney Star Wars, just go and positively review bomb the next Star Wars thing that comes out. Do it for the Skeleton Crew. So then we can start getting to actually, you know, people acknowledging and blaming Dave Filoni for the garbage that comes out after KK leaves. Because then we can get away from the whole separation, you know, the Civil War stuff that still lingers in the background despite how bullshit it was. Yeah. That'd be good. We'll just review bomb it positively. Give her a success. Get her out. But the other thing too, like, I'm not the only one that's said this. I'm pretty sure Ryan said it. And there's a few others out there. Drunk 3PO, I think, is another one. Even the guys, you know, Tim and Greg and stuff. Like, even if Kathleen Kennedy leaves, gets fired, or just walks away, whatever, nothing's going to change. The thing is, and especially Lucasfilm, is that they've been infiltrated by so many activists. You see it in the books that they've been doing, like, you know, the High Republic books. You got Justina Island and what's her name? Christina Ariel. I was going to say Ariana Grande. I don't know why, but yeah, you know that's just sort of on the book side of things, and then you look at what they've got with making movies or making shows. Man, it's going to take a lot more than KK leaving Lucasfilm for Star Wars to fix. I don't even think that Star Wars can be fixed at this point in time. There really is only one solution, and that's to reset it all back to its foundations. 6 movies. That's it. Start again. It's the only way. They'll never do that, Rhino. No, of course they will never do that. But like, people say that they'll never do that for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons being that the current Disney, they've culminated another fan base. So if they decanonize everything, what then happens to those fans? They then feel disenfranchised. Well, one could argue that they'd already done that with like, why can't they do it the other way around? They did it with the EU fans. Why can't they do it the other way around? Could you imagine Leslie Headland? Could you imagine Leslie Headland heading up Lucasfilm? Star Wars has gone like, I don't know. It's gone to a place where like nobody ever thought that it could get to, but it's hard to say, because even I've heard Gary and I think Disparu and probably even a few others still say that Doctor Who is still in a worse place than Star Wars. Like on let's say the battle of the franchises for which one's worse, or which one they've done the most amount of damage to, or, you know, something along those lines. People are still saying Doctor Who. And for me, it's definitely Star Wars, but is that just because of how invested I am in Star Wars? That makes me think that it is Star Wars? Because again, I don't even think I've ever watched an episode of Doctor Who. And Star Trek's definitely on the list. But, you know, I guess you could judge one of these franchises in regards to how bad it is based on how it could be recovered, how hard it is to recover it. And this actually brings me, I'll actually talk about this first, but this actually brings me to, let me say hello to the chat. God, I'm so out of practice, and I'm so out of it, guys. I do apologize. It's been a rough week, and yeah, that's why I haven't even really been putting videos out. I haven't really been feeling up to it. But yeah, anyway, We've got Democracy Manifest here. We've got Mr. Bantham. We've got John42. Thank you, everyone, for your kind words as well. I really do appreciate it. We got Papa Palpatine's Pizza Padawan. Hello there. Hello there. We've got Star Wars Marvel Purist, Justin. After this stream, I will be over there. We are going to finish the Plagueis novel review. So if you're not subscribed, any mods in the chat, please drop Justin's link in the chat. We will be over there finishing the last 10 chapters of Plagueis. Hopefully, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. We've got Melissa Lord. How you doing? We've got the operator. Well, fucking chat just jumped on me. We've got GT Weber. Good to see you. Melissa Lord, Dr. Coffernails, Scourge. I think I said that right. Masquerade. Good to see you. Let me just scroll down a little bit. Tillium. The Nuisance Bird. Hollywood Putt Hogan. Hello. All 12 people. Man, what was I talking about? Sort of just went off on a bit of a tangent there at the beginning, didn't I? Yes, they're more into Doctor Who. Yeah. You know what I've been loving? House of the Dragon. The second season, I know, wasn't necessarily as good as the first season, and I do agree with that, but I still enjoyed the second season. And I can't wait for season 3. It's just a shame that we're going to wait so damn long. Clemson PC gifts 10 memberships to you guys in the chat. You can now drop your emojis. I really need to do something for members. It's just finding time, man. I love my job and I love what I do and I love being able to get out and interact with people and stuff like that. But it would be awesome to be able to put more content out for you guys. Do something with the members. Like I said, time is not on my side. King Chris, how you doing? Again, Clemson, I really, really appreciate the 10 gifted memberships. That's nothing just to go past like that with a breeze. Clemson, we're going to actually try and work out something with Mozza and Lethal, and we're going to try and do a MozzaCon 2024. We have been discussing it. Let me say that. We have been discussing it. There's the link. Darth Ghostface, thank you. And how you doing? Good to see you. There's the link for Justin's channel. So, yeah, again, I will be over there after this. Germ Graves. Hello. Hail. All right. I'm pretty much all caught up. If I missed you, I do apologize. Thank you for being here, everyone. All the lurkers in the chat, the rewatchers, we appreciate you too. Do smash the like buttons, hit the subscribe, all the good stuff. Oh, and Mr. Bantham comes through with 5 gifted memberships. Drop the emojis, chat. Drop the emojis. That's something that I need to do as well, is I need to update my emojis because there's some in there that people don't use at all. The one that we mainly use is obviously the seal clapping emoji, which is a good one, but I think I need to update them. That's another thing that I need to actually do. But thank you, Mr. Bantham. Thank you, Clemson. Yeah. Look at all those emojis. Love it. Now, what was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about this. So I was talking about how bad something is or how bad one of the franchises are that are out there. Steezo for life, I see you. Yeah, how bad franchises are based on how hard it would be to turn the corner and correct things. And that made me think of the Robert Downey Jr. announcement as Victor Von Doom for Avengers Doomsday. So now I know I'm late on this. Again, I was going to talk about it last week, and I can't not do a casual rage and not talk about this. But this is the thing that I don't like about all of this, is that if it is true that Kevin Feige and the guys over there at Marvel, the MCU, if those people have realized that they've made a mistake with phase 4 and 5, and they actually do want to turn the corner and do things better, I think it's harder and will take longer to try and continue on from where they are and make a correction than it would be just to cut it off and effectively start again. Especially if you're going to bring Robert Downey Jr. back as Doom as opposed to as Iron Man. Just cast him as Victor Von Doom. Don't even have any connection to any Iron Man, to any multiverse stuff. Start again. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think the best example of that is Chris Evans as either the Human Torch or Captain America. I would still, it would still be cool to see him play Johnny Storm. I thought he did a good job as Johnny Storm. I actually think he probably does Johnny Storm better than he does Steve Rogers. That might be a little bit, I don't know. He does a good Steve Rogers. Don't get me wrong. He does great. But those two universes essentially weren't connected. Although, more recently, there's been a few more connections. But this is where, to try and continue telling your story and the things that you got so many open-ended questions still to be answered that nobody really cares about. Are they just going to drop the whole Kang thing after building that up through movies and shows and everything? The WandaVision stuff, having that variant or that alternate vision out there, the white vision out there, there's so many things now. If they wanted the Captain Marvel stuff, the Marvels. Anyway, you get my point. There's so many open-ended stuff that they, mystery box stuff, that they need to resolve, but not because anybody wants it resolved, but because if anybody is actually paying attention and they are trying to carry this story forward, despite how good it is from, let's say, the moment of this movie, Doomsday, you've still got all this garbage behind it that you're just leaving behind. Can we say that? Can we actually say that Phase 4 and 5, let's quote unquote, isn't canon, and you can start from Doomsday straight after Endgame or something like that? No, they're not going to do it like that. It would be like Star Wars and making a course correction from the Rey movie. You've got all this other stuff, all the Disney Plus shows. You've still got the sequels. You've still got everything. But then from the moment of episode 10, yeah, It gets better. It feels like Star Wars. It is more Star Wars, and the stories are good. The characters are compelling, and it's actually a good story to be told in the Star Wars galaxy. But it still continues on the story from the sequel trilogy and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that that's impossible. But that's effectively what this feels like. Just, you've done so much damage to it already. You know the formula to be able to make a good cinematic universe over a long period of time, a decade. And you don't think if you were to cut off this universe, start again, this is the thing, you could use even just a multiverse, actually give the MCU that you've made and that you've ended up destroying, like a universe name, number, whatever. And then you've cut off that universe. Don't even go back to it. You don't even need to go back to it. Oh, but we could continue telling the story. Don't worry about continuing telling the story. Start again. Go to another place, another multiverse, and start telling a new story in that multiverse. See how far you can get it. But don't let the multiverses cross over. That would be the key. You don't let the multiverses cross over. It's not to say that you can't have, let's say, a Chris Evans Captain America in it, because it's just a variant. But it's that world's or that variant's Steve Rogers. It's that guy that and he could still be pretty much exactly the same character. A variant doesn't need to be dramatically different. You know, it was funny. I was actually watching a Stargate episode the other night with my mate. I know I need to do the reviews. I know. I know. But my mate comes over and we're in season 3, and it's interesting. The episode that we're watching, there's a mirror, and it's a portal to other multiverses. It's like a multiverse, forks in the road kind of stuff. They even reference it like that, fork in the road kind of stuff. You go this way, you end up on this route. You go this way and you make this decision, you go this way. So anyway, they're trying to help a variant of Sam Carter in her universe contact the Asgard, right? So they got to go back through the mirror because they've been invaded by the Goa'uld. So they go back through the mirror, and the thing is that they can't turn the mirror off. Well, they can turn it off, but if they turn it off and then turn it back on, it doesn't end up going to the exact same universe. So you need to try and find it. Anyway, while they're all doing the mission, Daniel's trying to figure out, I promise you there's a point. He's trying to figure out to find his actual world, right? His actual universe, his multiverse, his string in the multiverse. And he finds one that is so similar, right? And Carter walks to the mirror on the other side of the mirror, and he's looking at her, waving at her. He's like, thank God I found it. And then he looks at her jacket and it says Captain Carter. And he goes, still says Captain because she's been promoted to a major. And he's like, close. And then he waves and says goodbye. My point is that even though you've got different variants and different worlds or parts, multiverses, the characters don't have to vary that much. You could have every single, let's say you've got the entirety of the X-Men, and every single, you've got a variant in this universe and you've got a variant in this universe. You know, there could only be one change. So let's say the X-Men characters, you got Charles, you know, even the villain side, you've got Magneto, you've got Storm, you've got Rogue, you've got Gambit, you've got Cyclops, you've got all of them, right? And then in the same thing over the other side, in the other world, they're exactly the same. But you know what the only change might be? Let's say the only change is Wolverine, right? In this universe, Wolverine is a teacher and he looks after the kids and he really protective, obviously, because he's always really protective. He still goes through a lot of trials and tribulations, people getting close to him dying, stuff like that. And then over in this other universe, he's an outrageous alcoholic that just gets smashed, beats people up, doesn't care about anyone but himself. But all the other characters are exactly the same in both universes. And again, that just brings me back to my point that they should just not try and make a correction. Not to say that they don't need to make a correction, but don't make a correction in the universe that you're already playing in. End it and start again. And it's the same thing with Star Wars. I don't want Star Wars to be a multiverse or anything like that, and it can't be. So that's why for something like Star Wars, you actually need to decanonize exactly what they did going the other way around with the expanded universe. It would probably be the same thing for something like Doctor Who, whereas it's just not canon. If you want to watch it and you like it, go for it. But it's actually not a part of the canonical timeline anymore. But for something like the MCU, you can do that. You can restart it and do it exactly the way that I said. Just don't have the multiverse crossover and don't do a lot of time travel stuff. Remember, don't get me wrong, like Cable's a time traveler. Like there is time travel aspects, but you've just got to really be, it doesn't need to be so complicated, I guess. Mr. Bantham for $2 says Marvel went too big, too fast. Start over for sure. Well, not only did they get too big too fast, I don't think it was really too fast, though. It was over 10 years, man. You got to remember that first phase of the MCU, they didn't have a... Did that? I think the first... Oh, was it? Avengers. Did that make $1 billion, Avengers 1? I think that might have been the first one. Now, that's pretty quick. What was phase 1? Like 4 years, 5 years? I think that was the longest phase. And then like phase 2 and 3 were like over a 5-year period or something. Because they were pumping out those movies. Start over for sure, definitely. And again, they know, don't bring over the exact same formula. I would hate for them to do a reboot, like a reset, not a reboot, so to speak, but a reset, like cut this storyline off. You've got it there. That's that own thing. You start again. Shit, what was I going to say? I'd hate for them to do that. Oh, I'd hate for them to do that and then make it like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like everything is like Guardians of the Galaxy. Kind of like where they went wrong with the, current MCU. Soon as they saw how successful and how good Guardians of the Galaxy was received, every character became Peter Quill. And again, I reckon after doing that, they made they put a damper on Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, a little bit. Yes, Lara, there was a few people that gifted memberships. It could have been either Mr. Bantham or Clemson. So thank you, guys. And don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of the MCU that is still yet to come out that's going to be bad. So I just had this as well. So Marvel and Grogu and Avengers Doomsday both release May 2026. Bit of competition there between Marvel and Star Wars. You know what? I think we know which one's going to actually blow the other one out of the water. And the funny thing about this is that if Star Wars was really, really good, I don't think Marvel would even attempt to release a movie the same month that a Star Wars movie was coming out. That's box office death going up against a Star Wars movie, usually. But Marvel's getting cocky with something like this. And so they should, because I will say, despite how bad the MCU's been, they have still had more success than Star Wars in the last 5 years. Because they have had those diamonds in the rough, those small successes, the Deadpools and Wolverines of the MCU, the Spider-Man No Way Homes. Star Wars has had nothing. Nothing. You Twitter tards out there that think that, you know, your voice is enough. There's way more of us. It's so cringy, Rhino. Yeah. So Avengers Doomsday goes up against Mandalorian and Grogu. Guarantee you, Doomsday blows Star Wars, like Marvel blows Star Wars out of the water. Out of the water. No contest. And then we can look at this. So, movie slated to release 2026. God, that's small. Oh, they're doing a second Batman. I didn't know that. I'd be interested to see what they do. Don't really care. Didn't even watch the first Batman. The Batman. I didn't watch the what's his name? Glitter Skin. That's what we'll call him. Dune. I didn't even watch the first two. Shrek 5. Oh, what do you reckon they're gonna do with Shrek 5? I'm sick of this. Star Wars untitled film. Okay. Okay. How many times have we seen that? And then they put something in that slot and then they fire the people and nothing happens. Like you see this with Star Wars so much. Mandalorian and Grogu. Supergirl. Didn't even know they were doing a Supergirl. Jordan Peele's next film, okay? Hunger Games. That's got to be a spin-off, right? Sunrise of the Reaping. Okay. Mario Brothers 2. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Are you really trying that again? Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. Does anyone care? Is The Hunt for Gollum the story of Gandalf looking for Gollum after Bilbo leaves? Like, is that really that interesting? Toy Story 5, Transformers and G.I. Joe. Well, look, based on what I'm hearing from a few people, the comic books that they've been coming out with, Transformers and GI Joe, have apparently been really good. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Frozen 3. I don't really care. Mike Flanagan's The Exorcist. We got Street Fighter, UFO movie, Spielberg's UFO movie. We go into UFO movies now. I thought okay. And then Hail Mary. Yeah, it doesn't really look all that exciting. Interested, don't care. So one, I'm just interested to see what they do with Shrek. I'm not really interested in watching it. Well, really, there's only one thing that I'm interested in seeing on this list, maybe two with the Transformers G.I. Joe thing. But there's really only two things on this list that I'm interested in. Transformers G.I. Joe and the Avengers Doomsday would be something that I'm actually interested in seeing, as well as like optimistic for it. What I'm interested in seeing to see what they do would be something like Shrek, obviously Mandalorian Grogu, obviously the Untitled film as well. I don't really care about Supergirl. I don't really care about Mario Brothers. I don't really care about the Lord of the Rings stuff. And that's it. And that's it. But like when you think about that, there's what? 5 4s are 20. So there's 20 movies there. There's 20 movies on that list. Is this a result of COVID and a result of maybe even the strike as well? Like, does that seem small to anyone else? "2026 slated movies." I'd be expecting like, I don't know, 30 to 40 films to be on that list. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Robert Downey Jr. stuff. And you know, it's funny after just talking about this now. My thoughts on a lot of these things, a lot of these different franchises are very similar in regards to what they need to do. I mean, this is the thing with the MCU one, for example. Let's say they do what I say. Not what I say. Let's say they do my suggestion and they actually cut off this universe, they title it, give it a number, and go off and make a whole new cinematic universe in a whole different world, a whole different Earth variant. No crossovers, no nothing. If the people behind the scenes and the people writing this stuff and the people creating these movies and these shows and everything still have that same thought process, that same politics in their brain where they feel like this is more a platform than it is entertainment, well, then it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter which direction they take. It doesn't matter if they think that they've made a mistake. If they still think that and they're still doing that, and that's where the thing is with like Kathleen Kennedy leaving Lucasfilm. Same thing, really. It's the same thing. What difference is it really going to make? You've got to do a major overhaul. And maybe this has got something to do with bringing back the Russo brothers. It's just, to me, it's now gotten to a point where even if they subtly throw something in, it gets torn apart because it's so in your face all the time. The message stuff. So even if, let's say, they've got a great story with Doomsday and they come up with a really great script and all of this kind of stuff, and they just subtly throw in some message stuff somewhere here and there, it's still going to get ripped apart for those things because it's so in our face. They need to get people in the writer's room that care. I was going to say they need to get fans in there. And yeah, they probably do. They need to get people that know their stuff. You know, there are some fans out there that end up knowing these franchises better than some of the creators know their own franchise. There are plenty of people out there that would be willing to do the job, as long as they've got the freedom to be able to do what they need to do to make sure that it's actual Star Wars. And maybe that's what the whole thing is with the Russo brothers. But I don't know. Because at the end of the day, Endgame in hindsight wasn't as good as... Well, it wasn't as good as I thought it was when I first walked out of the theater. I still enjoy it. Infinity War's by far the best, I think, for just an overall solid movie. The characters, and to do what they did with having so many characters, separating the teams, what happens with Thor, having the Guardians, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange on Tython, and having all the others on Earth, fighting battles in their own right. Like it was really well done. Infinity War was fantastic. A really compelling villain, with great insight to his motivations. Solid. What's going on here? I don't know that person's name, but the true mastermind, Charles, stop it. That created the MCU. Kevin Feige is just a imposter. Yeah, no, I know, like Iron Man and like 1 and stuff like that. Like those opening phases had nothing to do with Feige, or the opening phases, I should say, like that opening phase. When did Feige take over? What was the last movie? Good kitty? No, bad kitty. Look. Sorry, I'm going to stay off screen, guys. I just feel like I look sad. Maybe it's just me because of what happened, but I don't know. I hope this is okay. It's just for this week. All right, let's get rid of that. We've talked enough about that. Like I said, I just think that it's really shit if they're trying to course correct the shit that they've made, the shit that they've done. Silly. Silly. Yeah, there was a meme of that. There was actually a meme. They do a blackface race swap. God. Yes, Charles. No, that yes didn't mean come and sit on my lap. That was just me acknowledging you. All right. So I think we've seen this before. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Acolyte. I really do think that they are dumb enough to do a season 2. Charles, seriously, buddy, please. Yeah, I really think that they're dumb enough to do a season 2. But I just wanted to share this with you. I'm pretty sure we've seen this clip before. And we always know because of what she's wearing. We know the clips. But this is like what the new fans actually want. Like they're still using the hashtag renew the Acolyte. And this tweet says, have we got pronouns in bio? No, barely any bio whatsoever. Oh, I thought it was going to be join 2024. I honestly thought that it was going to be something like that. It's funny too, like having renew the Acolyte in the bio. Anyway, we literally can't ask for anyone better to take Star Wars into the future. Let's see which clip they used.
It's really the story that George told with the prequels, right? Is the fall of this particular group. So to me, I went, well, then what happened right before that? He sort of starts in media res and Phantom.
This is the thing, is she's like, oh, so what happened right before that? Right before the Jedi lost their power and the Sith took over. What happened just before that? This is the thing that I don't think Leslie Headland understands, is that this story of the Sith has been in the making for 1,000 years. It's not what happened just before that. The compelling story isn't what happened 100 years ago. The compelling story of this story is what happened 1,000 years ago with Bane. Now, that's where they should have gone. Now, again, I've God help us if they ever do go back to the past with Revan or Bane or any of it. God help us. But to basically try and come up with a story that's got to have villains, that's got to be, Sith orientated based on your own words. It's funny that they said that we want to watch something from the Sith, or we want to do something from the Sith's perspective. Now, you could almost say the prequels of that. Now, you don't necessarily constantly see it from the POV of Palpatine or Maul or Dooku, but you do get them in it, and you can blatantly see the downfall of the Jedi due to what is actually happening. That doesn't surprise me, Darth Ghostface. That doesn't surprise me at all. I've actually got something that somebody commented in regards to, like whether or not it was good or bad and how it was received. But yeah, again, she's talking about what happened just before that. No one cares what happened just before that. There's been 1,000 years of peace in the galaxy. That's all we really need to know. We don't need any stories in between there. We really don't. The only stories that you could tell is, and it'd probably be pretty boring, would be, going 500 years in the past and basically telling a story about the Sith, but they've got to remain in hiding the whole time. Like, there's got to be no crossing over, no even senses of dark side by the Jedi or anything like that. It'd be a pretty boring story. You know what would have been better? Doing the Plagueis book. Thing is you'd almost have to do the Plagueis book as like 2 movies. I don't think there's enough there to do a trilogy. Oh, and imagine how good that last movie would be. Right, crossing over with the events of the Phantom Menace. From completely different POVs, completely different perspectives. You could have that great moment when Palpatine senses Maul's death at the same time as he kills Plagueis. Like, it's a pretty incredible thing that happens in that moment. The moment the apprentice kills his master, takes ultimate power of the Sith, and he loses his apprentice. Exact same time. Imagine that moment on screen. Whoa. How good. How good. Anyway, let's keep watching this.
Right? Like, and so I went, well, if you went back further, where are the cracks in the system? How can evil start to rise in the way that it does, to the point where...
This is the thing. It didn't start to rise 100 years ago. It's things like this and statements like this that Leslie Headland say that prove to me that she's no Star Wars fan. She doesn't, it's word vomit coming out of her mouth. She doesn't actually understand what she's saying. Yeah, I know. People think that Star Wars died a lot longer ago. Good enough. A long time ago. But the thing is like, even though people probably, like, there are people out there that think that there are just 3 Star Wars movies, you can't deny that the prequels still told a cohesive story within the timeline that it had to connect to. Good enough. Anyway, let's listen to more of lesbian headcase.
Literally one of the strongest Sith that ever lived can infiltrate the Senate, and none of the Jedi know about it. So,
yes, because again, that's explained. It's actually explained in the Plagueis novel, the book that you probably should have read, telling a story 100 years. And this is the other thing too, is people wanting to say that, oh, Darth Plagueis novel, that's decanonized. That's a part of Legends. That's no longer a part of the actual real canon or anything like that. But then you get the shills out there saying, oh, if you want more of the story of Darth Plagueis, read this book, which doesn't connect to what they did in the Acolyte at all. So far removed from it that it does not even recognizable as the same story. How can you say that the novel, the book, is the homework when it opens up with a contradiction? Because of the time where you are in time, and this is another thing that they don't even know or care about in in Star Wars, in over there at Lucasfilm, is time, travel time, actual time periods, actual canon established based around certain species and how long that species lives for, and certain ages of characters and stuff. This is established lore. This is established canon. You've got to work around those parameters. You can't just change it because you need to show it. The Ki-Adi-Mundi thing isn't just a birthday. Yeah, it's a part of it. But it's also the fact that this entire species only lives to be 60 years old. And based on when we see Ki-Adi-Mundi, he shouldn't even be, he either shouldn't be alive in the prequels, in The Phantom Menace, because he'd be too old, or he shouldn't be born. It's one of the two. And that's where your contradiction lies. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Oh, but they've decanonized all of Star Wars lore and canon. So if they want to say that that species lives to be 300, well, then they can if they really want to. Okay, sure. What about the fact that this character's been established enough to be told that he had, 3 wives or something like that? And he was the only one in the entire Jedi that was actually allowed. It's so unique. He was actually allowed to have relationships because his species was on the brink of extinction. So being a male, he was allowed to just fucking pump babies into all of these women. What a life. Jedi on the Jedi Council. The only one that's allowed to fuck. What happens to all of that established canon around that character, around that species? Canon continuity and lore and stuff like that doesn't just revolve around a character. It revolves around species of aliens. It revolves around planets. Tatooine has its own established lore and canon with sand people and the huts and the bounty hunters. But these people don't care. These people don't care enough to even do their research if they are in it. They just parrot the fact that they were a Star Wars fan, or they are a massive Star Wars fan, or Star Wars saved my life. Like, fuck off. Fuck off. You know, Star Wars saved my life. You know the difference between my story about Star Wars saving my life and your story, Leslie, about Star Wars saving your life, is like I can actually give details and references to why and what it actually did. You just parrot it so that people will accept you. The Star Wars fans, quote unquote Star Wars fans, will accept you. Because you're hoping that just like the Disney Star Wars shill, just like the Disney Star Wars seal, they won't do any research and they won't even use their own brain to think why or how what's going on to make this as good as they see it, or, you know, critical thinking. They don't go into any critical thinking. You're lucky. You're actually lucky that you've got a fan base that doesn't give a fuck just as much as you, to the point where you can say that you're a massive Star Wars fan and they will just believe you. Mr. Bantham for $2. But Rhino, she loves all the Star Wars. Yes, she loves all the Star Wars. She just wants to live in the Star Wars galaxy in perpetuity forever. The only thing that could top off another Leslie Headland interview is if she was to say something along the lines of, oh, now I'm going to fucking blank on it. The Kamala Harris fucking quote where she says, we can move forward or whatever, unburdened by what was before. That's what I think about when I hear Leslie Headland speak.
I think once you can kind of get people into that place, then they're more supportive. But I think when you think you're going to tell the story about bad guys and the Jedis might be the antagonist to those Jedis, I think that makes people nervous. But I think when you think you're going to tell the story about bad guys and the Jedis might be the antagonist to those Jedis.
The Jedis might be the antagonist to those Jedis.
When you think you're going to tell the story about bad guys and the Jedis might be the antagonist to those Jedis.
The Jedis might be those antagonists to those Jedis. She doesn't even know what she's saying in her own in one sentence.
I think that makes people nervous, but it didn't make Kathy nervous. And I will say that room, when I pitched her, it was probably one of the most exciting things because it felt like a conversation and less like I was up for a job.
No one fucking cares about the conversation that you have. People want to care. No one cares. No one cares, Leslie. That actually could have been a good nominee for Seal of the Week. I might just take it to the very back, just in case. Just in case. Oh, we got some nominees, don't worry. Don't worry about that. And then there was this, which also could possibly be a nominee for Seal of the Week. But you've got Stoned Star Wars saying 85% of people who have seen The Acolyte loved it. 85% of people that watched The Acolyte loved it. 85% of the people who say it's bad haven't seen it. Well, that just doesn't add up. I mean, I'm not the best mathematician going round, but when you look at some of the audience scores on some of those platforms and stuff, certainly 85% of the people that watched it, that's completely incorrect. 85% of the people that watched it didn't love it. Based on what evidence we have, 85% of the people that watched it actually hated it. 15% liked it. And then 85% of the people saying that it's bad haven't seen it. What about the other 15%? So you're saying that 15% of the people that are saying it's bad have seen it. It's such a stupid thing. Because also, too, in this day and age with the internet and reviews and videos and everything that's out there, are you telling me that you couldn't, and I'm talking about both sides, right? You could have somebody out there that hasn't seen it, completely independent, doesn't really care either way, right? And that person could go out and watch 5 positive reviewed videos of The Acolyte Season 1 and 5 negative ones. And you telling me that person wouldn't be able to make a judgment call on whether or not they think it's a good show or not based on 5 positive videos and 5 negative videos without actually watching the show? I think they can. Don't you? 15% of bigots, yeah. Yep. So that just doesn't add up for me. Again, that could be a a nominee for Seal of the Week. We'll see. We will see. What do we got next? You know what? We might watch that. Did we finish? So out of it. Did we finish Grizzy's videos on the Acolyte? Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. All right. We might watch that while we're doing Seal of the Week. So let me go into this then instead. Skeleton Crew. All right. Oi, Mozza, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. Take 5. Discuss Skeleton Crew amongst yourselves. I'm just going to grab a quick drink. I'll be right back. You know what? I should probably play you guys a clip. Otherwise, this is just boring. Oh, Cena's Moz is in the chat. Fuck it.
Oh, Mozza, read that.
So
Mozza, don't let the American bitch.
Did you just fart?
Yes, I did. Tell you what to do.
I think it's bedtime, Mozza.
Question mark.
I think it's bedtime for Mozza.
He pushed so far.
That's the type of videos that we watch on fucking Happy Hump Day.
I gotta pee. Oh my god.
All right. God, I love that clip. It'll never, ever get old. Yeah, it was a big night. It was. It was a fun night. It was really good. All right. Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew. Why do they always do this? I do Casual Rage, and then like the next day they release like a trailer. So it's like then we've got to wait a whole week for the next Casual Rage. I'll probably do a video reacting to the trailer. I got to get back into the videos. I was just going to take that week off after the Acolyte, recharge the batteries a little bit. And then, yeah, unfortunately, this situation happened with my grandma. But yeah, they always do this. They always release a trailer like the day after or like 2 days after we do Casual Rage. But anyway, first trailer for Skeleton Crew reportedly drops tomorrow. Wow. Like, I will say, considering the fact that, I don't know, is it supposed to be November or December that this comes out? I think it was November. Let me just check that. I think it was November that it was coming out. But Skeleton Crew. Release date. Huh. Just says 2024 still. Doesn't actually give. You know, on the trailer, they'll probably put a date on it. Anyway, it's still this year. So it's probably going to be like October, November, December sometime. The last quarter of the year, basically. And they're just releasing a trailer now? the first trailer now? Like, is that strange? Oh, yeah. She passed away last weekend. Thank you. Yeah, a little bit sad. But I'm doing all right. It's all good. She's in a much, much better place. She had Alzheimer's and dementia, and she wasn't living much of a life. So sad to see her go. But she is in heaven now with my grandfather. And yeah. Charles, god damn. Stop it. Skeleton Crew. What was I saying? Oh, so yeah, we don't have an actual release date, but it's the last quarter of the year, and for them to drop a trailer now is like horrible. It's horrible. Where was the trailer like 6 months ago? Should have got a first trailer they should have released a first trailer while the Acolyte was happening. Unless they just don't have confidence in it, and because despite whether or not it was good or bad attention Star Wars was getting, it was big in the news cycle. It was big. You can't deny that. You would think that if they had any confidence in Skeleton Crew, they would have dropped a first trailer while the Acolyte was being aired. Even if it was like right at the end of it. But they should have dropped a trailer like midway through the season, episode 4. But now no one cares. No one cares about Skeleton Crew. The only reason why people cared about the Acolyte was because of how it was being promoted, was because of who was behind the scenes. Was because they wanted to see what Dave Filoni was going to do with this stuff as the chief creative officer, which is a position that I'd argue that he's had for a lot longer than people want to say that he's had it for. And the Acolyte got traction because of how ridiculous the show actually was, how much it pandered to the shippers, how much it pandered to the pronoun people, how much it pandered, and then there's on top of that just the garbage storytelling, the breaks in physics, the breaks in the laws, canon, and continuity of actual Star Wars. There was a lot in the Acolyte that was bad, and it got a lot of eyes. It got a lot of traction. Not necessarily by people just watching the show, as we can see based on the Nelson ratings and stuff like that. Nobody really watched it. There was a lot of YouTubers that were watching it. Helps their channels. It certainly helped my channel. And then also too the stuff with the media, you know, that Looper video thing calling out Gary and Drinker. It was big, not because the show was big and good. It was big because of what it was doing to the corpse of Star Wars. People were interested to see what this activist, Leslie Headland, you know, and it's funny that Leslie Headland does this show, and we've got what's her name? Charmin Obaid-Chinoy doing the Rey movie. A self-proclaimed activist that either covertly or overtly puts her activism into the shows that she's done, most of them being documentaries. We've got the video, the clips of her saying how she likes to make men uncomfortable. Men should be made to feel uncomfortable. Perfect. It's the perfect person. Perfect person for Lucasfilm. But they should have dropped a trailer for this ages ago if they had any confidence in it whatsoever. John Watts, Skeleton Crew, premieres, there you go, December 3rd. How come it's, I don't know, let's just say that is the date that it's coming out. But like you Google search and it doesn't come up with an actual date, but they've got it here on Twitter. Okay. Jude Law stars as a Jedi. Series is inspired by The Goonies and takes place around the same time as The Mandalorian. You know, the other thing that we know about this is that the kids, they find something on their home planet and then they get lost in the galaxy. That's the only other real thing that we know about this. They find something. Just imagine if their planet is Exegol. And the reason why they get lost is because of that red fart cloud in space that they could have flown around, but they have to fly through it to get to Exegol in the, you know what I'm talking about. The nebula or whatever the fuck it is. But imagine if it's Exegol. Because this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Palpatine's still alive. He's out there somewhere. 5 years after, something happens. They discover something because he's doing the cloning stuff of doing the completion of Project Necromancer. No, but that can't happen because in Mando Season 3, we've still got parts of Project Necromancer with Moff Gideon giving himself the Force. Pumping his own ass with the Force. Anyway, imagine it being Exegol. I just can't now get that out of my head. Anyway, no one cares about this show. Nobody cares that Jude Law is going to be a Jedi inspired by the Goonies. This is the other thing too. Like we constantly get these stories that the people creating these shows were inspired by this or inspired by that. I mean, Leslie Headland, definitely. She was inspired by everything you've ever loved. She may as well have just said that. Because what did she pull inspiration from? It was Frozen meets Kill Bill. There was Elden Ring inspiration. There was a couple of others. Why am I blanking on them? Anyway, she was inspired by everything. Oh, One Piece, that's right. More recently. The Matrix, yes. Cowboy Bebop, sorry. Not One Piece. It was Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, that's right. Yep, The Matrix. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I guess. She just never referenced it. The Fugitive as well, I guess, but she never referenced it. Like, okay, it's inspired by the Goonies. Can we have something that's Star Wars, please? How about it's inspired by Star Wars? How about we get a Star Wars show that's inspired by Star Wars? Now, look, I know that George was inspired by samurai movies and things of that nature. But he took those inspirations, he adapted it, made it his own thing, and had an incredible brainchild out of it. You say no more Disney Star Wars. Well, It's not ending anytime soon. I'm sorry, Ruben, but it's just not. It's not stopping anytime soon. And the more it happens, like I am happier to see people now starting to recognize some of these things more. Like, honestly, if we got to a point where even the people like the Star Wars theories out there that I say sort of ride the fence and everything, if they had to come out and said the Acolyte was good, like, it's indefensible. Like, you can't actually say that you can't legitimately come out and with a straight face and say that it's good. I know that there are people that say that it is, like the seals and stuff. But, you know, if you had something like that, like, that's the end. I mean, the reason why we've got something like the Acolyte is because of the praise that the Mandalorian got, is because of the praise that that Book of Boba Fett got, or Ahsoka, or Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, it's a culmination of all of the praise that these shows ended up getting. Whereas from the word go, from the moment of the sequel trilogy, if you really stay true to yourself, you can see the cracks back then, obvious cracks. And to think that this is the thing, this is the problem with the whole rumor thing and the whole Civil War thing that came out, is it reinvigorated people's hope that John and Dave were going to turn the corner and do the right things. You know, if that rumor didn't come out, the Civil War rumor didn't come out, I wonder where Star Wars would be right now. Like, in regards to the fans, I wonder if we would have gone through... I just realized how I sounded then. Through... If we had gone through... people actually, you know, recognizing the problems with all of these shows and calling them out instead of just sitting there saying, yeah, bricks and screws, 10 out of 10. Like, I wonder if the apathy for it would have come sooner. Or the ability to say that Dave Filoni is a hack and he's not the right person. Inspired by the Goonies. Again, it's unfortunate that it's not actually inspired by Star Wars. Skeleton Crew will feature plenty of references and Easter eggs to Star Wars films and recent shows. Well, the recent shows can go fuck off. We've got you've done enough of that already, right? Whoop-de-fucking-do. It references Easter eggs from Star Wars films and TV shows. Okay. Being that it is Star Wars, yeah, there probably should be some Star Wars themes and there probably should be some Star Wars references. I question the references that you're going to put in when in the back store of Andor in Luthen's store, you put two holocrons, a Sith and a Jedi holocron there, just so that the SEALs can clap at it. Not making any reference to it whatsoever, just having it there. Are those the references that you're going to be referencing? Are those the Easter eggs that you're going to be referencing? Or is it just having a lightsaber on the belt of a Jedi? Are those the references or the Easter eggs from previous Star Wars films and recent shows? Whoop-de-fucking-do is my point. Skeleton Crew will feature plenty of references and Easter eggs to Star Wars films and recent shows. Confirmed star Jude Law. Whoop-de-do, it's Star Wars. It should have those themes. It should have those references. But are those references going to be just jangling keys like Darth Ghostface here says? Or is it actually going to be like something meaningful? And I'm not talking about like, you know, it's kind of like the training sequence between Luke and Grogu in Book of Boba Fett. Don't try, do. I should have been more on this. Don't try, do. Fuck the do not part of this lesson. Just don't try, do. Just do it. Do it. You're not allowed to even try, but you're not allowed to not do it. You just try or do it. No, you don't try. You just do it. What a lesson. Are these references and Easter eggs just going to be plagiarized shit from better Star Wars movies, better Star Wars quotes? Like in The Acolyte, when he says, oh, and what you take with you, referencing Yoda from Empire Strikes Back. Or when he talks to May about striking down Sol, you know, plagiarizing the throne room scene from Return of the Jedi. Are those the references and the Easter eggs that you're talking about? No one fucking cares, Jude Law. You know why? Because Disney's given us no reason to care. Any new lore canon that they bring in to this universe, they don't care to explain why or how these things are actually supposed to work, aka tracking fobs. I guess aka is probably not the right place to use that, but you know what I mean. No. Why do they not need to explain it? Why do they not need to actually expand on the lore of a created piece of canon in the universe? Because the seals just clap. They don't need to. The new fans that they've culminated don't give a fuck. How great is this? We can bring Kiadi Mundi in, and look, they'll clap because it's Kiadi fucking Mundi. Woohoo! We don't need to explain why he's lived twice as long as his species, his entire species lives. We don't need to explain that at all. They loved it. You know why they loved it? Because they saw him on the Jedi Council in the Phantom Menace saying that the Sith hasn't been sent for a millennia. Fuck what he actually said. It's just the fact that he's there. That's why no one cares, Jude Law, that you're going to put plenty of references and Easter eggs just for you seal clappers. Woohoo! It's not what fucking Star Wars is. It's not how the Force works. Let's read this quote. There are great references to old films and recent episodes and series. Okay. If you look carefully, we got some Star Wars tech that dates right back. Okay. I believe, hang on. Okay. I don't really understand what could date right back like that technology that anyway. Is it cloning stuff? Is it cloning stuff? Is that where we're going here? Cloning? I bet you it is. I believe to the original films. Oh, that dates back, I believe, to the original films. They do Easter eggs so well. That's one of the joys, I think, of this universe. For those who know, there are those little details always hidden away always hidden away, or Easter eggs that people can find and link up. Yeah, look, that's good. I'll take you back to what I was saying about the Plagueis novel, right? Imagine adapting the Plagueis novel and having that crossover moment on screen of events that are taking place in the Phantom Menace at the same time that events are taking place in the final Plagueis movie, or the final of the Plagueis movie if you were just to do one movie. Imagine how cool that would be. Now that's a cool reference. Now that's a cool Easter egg. It makes sense. It makes sense. Just having something there, having a reference there for no reason. What? Are you going to train the younglings with a helmet with a blast shield over the top and a remote blaster droid, training droid? Is that your reference? Are they your Easter eggs? I'm not saying that you can't do that. But it's very on the nose when you do that. The thing is when you do that, the lesson that should be being taught should be relevant. The lesson should probably even get paid off. You know, it got paid off in A New Hope, in Star Wars. It got paid off in that one movie. When Luke puts the blast shield down, he goes, how am I supposed to do anything? I can't see with the blast shield down. And Obi-Wan goes through that lesson, right? Don't, like, you know, man, it's been a while and I can't remember the exact thing that he says, but he's basically saying, like, feel the Force, right? And then at the end of that movie, when he's doing the trench run and he puts his computer away, turns off his computer. Luke, are you all right? I'm fine. Use the Force, Luke. He's not looking. He's not using his eyes. He's feeling the Force flow through him. The Force is guiding him. Paid off. This is the thing. Let me ask you, if you were watching The Acolyte, the training sequence that we see Jackie, whatever the fuck you want to call her, with the saber sticks, and the lesson that's taught there, does that get paid off? They're talking about, like, I can't remember exactly, and I'm changing it up a little bit here, but it was along the lines of, like, don't be so chaotic, be flowy with your movements, all of that sort of thing. Did that really get paid off? Yeah, she was able to take on a Sith apprentice. I don't know. A Sith. She was able to take on a Sith as a Padawan when the Sith took out like 5 Jedi just before that. But she was able to hold her own. But did any of the lesson that she got taught in that lesson, you know, sort of get paid off within that fight? No. You know why? Because it would be cool to have a scene on Coruscant, in the Jedi Temple, in the training center, whatever. And it would be cool to see a Jedi training younglings. Not that the lessons mean anything. You know, when Qui-Gon is giving Anakin a little bit of advice before they leave to go back to Naboo. You know, I can't train you, but, you know, just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Gets paid off at the end of that movie as well with what Anakin does. Anyway, no one cares, Jude Law. No one fucking cares. No one cares. about your stupid Star Wars references and Easter eggs, because the only thing that Star Wars has got going for it is references and Easter eggs. That's it. That's all Star Wars is now, is Easter eggs and references to other Star Wars. As long as people hear the line, you see it all the time. It's red. He evaded. He said the line. They actually say that. He said the line. If somebody said, I love you, I know, they'd say, he said the line. If somebody says, may the force be with you, they say, he said the line. If somebody says, I will do what I must, they will say, he said the line. Whoop-de-fucking-do means nothing. And in fact, it's retroactively doing damage to the original quote, the original line. Because when you see it, all you're going to think is, oh, they fucking used that too. Sorry, there was one more thing here. New look at Skeleton Crew. The upcoming Star Wars series premieres December 3rd. Oh my God. Look at that elephant. Oh my God. It looks like something from, oh man, when I was a kid, there was an animated show with elephants. What was it fucking called, chat? Bubba? Yeah. That's the one. Man, that looks like it's from that, doesn't it? That looks like it. Man. Are they actually on the ground? Like, it looks like they're actually on the ground. These are the school bikes. Look, they've got the tassels. They got the basket on the back. They're on their way to school. Are you kidding me? Look at it! Look at it! Oh my God. That looks so bad. Looks like a Joe Biden mask. And who's this? Cyclops. He's supposed to be a Jedi. And look, he looks like a fucking homeless bum. You know, because they all need to look like Obi-Wan Kenobi from Tatooine. A hermit. Especially if they're not at the temple. And you got to remember, this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. The galaxy should be theoretically, like, essentially safe. There's a lot of politicking going on at this period of time. Look at that fucking character. The fuck, man. Oh my God. Oh my God. Does that not just look like a green screen? And that light is so bright. Cyclops. Oh, this is going to be a disaster as well. Oh, man. This is literal Babysitters in Space. That looks so bad. What's this, a droid? The Goonies. I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing. So let's see. What Star Wars references do we have? Droid? Yeah, okay. Speeder bikes? Yeah, okay. Maybe they went to the mod shop and got some, new eyes. Elephant? No, that's not really, that's Star Warsy. I mean, it's supposed to be I can't remember the name of the species now, but the blue guy playing the piano in Jabba's palace or on the barge. Look at the tassels, man. Look, put those old 70s handlebars on it. Make it look like one of those old 70s bikes. Make them wear some old 70s clothes. You know when they say a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? The long time ago thing is like, you know, a long time ago, not just like 50 years ago. Goonies in space. Yeah, this is my first time seeing these. Horrid. Max Rendo kid. It wouldn't surprise me. That'll be your Easter egg. That'll be your Star Wars references. We'll get a little bit of a backstory to each character, and he'll be on like in Jabba's palace being born. Oh my god. Anyway, I got Skeleton Crew to look forward to. December 3rd. Get ready for that, guys. There will be reviews, I promise you. That one looks like it's going to be really painful, though, because it looks like it is really, like, kiddie. It almost looks like a live-action Star Wars Galaxy Adventures. Guys, thank you all for being here. 50 people watching. That's good turnout. That's a good turnout considering I haven't put out any videos for 2 weeks now, pretty much. And I didn't do my stream last week. Okay. Let's do... I got to wrap this up pretty much. It's going to be a shorter stream. I didn't think it was going to go for too long. I'm pretty much just doing everything that I had for last week anyway, because like I said, I haven't been able to stay sort of too plugged in to the internet and getting all fuck, I completely just blanked. See, I'm not doing well. I'm doing fine, but I'm just not, my head's just not in it. Man, now I'm all over the place. Okay, Warsaw. It's going to be a shorter one because I also need to go over and hang out with Justin. We need to talk about Plagueis. So you can come and join us over there on Star Wars Marvel Purists channel. That's a very interesting point. Rhino, I'm willing to give the Acolyte some love. When I first read that just now, I was like, whoa, really? This show did something very special. It made Star Wars Theory listen to Ryan Kennel and Mauler, and now his faith in Filoni is shaken. Yes, I have noticed that. And that's, I agree with you. That's where they need to keep, like, do you think after the Acolyte that Skeleton Crew's going to sort of be any better? I mean, I don't think it's going to be worse. I would hope that at least this show has some kind of through line, has some kind of story, whereas the Acolyte had nothing, like absolutely nothing. It's got nothing. It's hollow. It's nothing. I don't think nowhere near as many people. It's a bit like Andor, right? I don't think that there's going to be that many people watching Skeleton Crew. Like, I don't think that I'm not too sure. I could be wrong, but I don't think Gary is going to care too much to watch Skeleton Crew. Maybe he will. I don't know about Mauler and the EFAP guys. I don't know how much they're going to care. Theory's always going to do it. But you think after how much this has shaken Theory and his faith in some people at Lucasfilm, whether it be just Filoni or as maybe others, I don't know. But you think after the Acolyte and then he watches Skeleton Crew, and based on what we're seeing and based on everything that we've heard about it and everything, I just don't see how it could be any good. I don't. All right, let's do Seal of the Week. Let me see. I've got too many here. Some of them we talked about a bit earlier. Or I showed a bit earlier. Yeah, okay. We'll keep that one. We'll keep that one. Oh, it's got to be that one. We'll get rid of that. And we'll get rid of that. All right. Sorry. Here we go. Here we go. I want to see steel clapping emoji. That's really loud. I want to see steel clapping emojis.
I'm all the Jedi.
All right. I want to make this a little bit bigger. That's what she said. All right. Nominee number 1 is Darth Thunder. A few nominees actually this year for Darth Thunder. Just a few. Says, I really do hope we get a season 2 of The Acolyte and it's announced within the year. How about you? Hashtag renew the Acolyte. How about me? The funny thing is with the Acolyte is I'm sort of on the fence about it. Like, I don't want any more because of what the damage that it's going to do. And we know that it's going to do. But fuck, I'd love to see what they do. Like, man. And the amount, like, then and especially, like, then there is nothing that you can say about Dave Filoni. Oh, he didn't get the job until after it was completed or after it was written or whatever. Like the retards that try and still defend him. If like you can't say you could already start saying it about Ahsoka anyway. But you know you've got Skeleton Crew coming up. But fuck, man, I'm almost jumping on the hashtag renew the Acolyte bandwagon. I'm almost there. Maybe I should set up an alt account on Twitter. What could we call it? Instead of Raging Rhino, we go Shilling Rhino, Ceiling Rhino. Ceiling sounds too much like this ceiling, like your roof. Shilling Rhino. Just hashtag renew the Acolyte everywhere. Anyway, that's nominee number 1. Nominee number 2, surely. No, I thought there would be pronouns. Because we've got the blue butterfly. Kylo Cat. Chimere Army. Kylo Army. Okay. No, not fucking Chimere. Fucking weird names, you weird cunts. Shilling Rhino sounds good. Mess with hashtag nice Rhino. That's right. I got no regenerative power. All right, I find it strange that some fans don't like how the Acolyte may be changing parts of Plagueis from a non-canon book. Now, one of the main reasons why I actually wanted to keep this one in there is because they talk about this book being a non-canon book. But like I said, there were articles, there were people coming out after the Acolyte was aired saying, if you want more backstory of Plagueis, go and read the Plagueis novel. They contradict. There's no connection there whatsoever. So people are going to go read the Plagueis novel. It's going to be 10 times better than the garbage that we got out of the Acolyte. And your Acolyte's going to get fucked on even more if people are actually true Star Wars fans. Anyway, goes on to say, yet no one minded when Filoni changed the events from Ahsoka, which was 100% canon. No one. I think my chat would have something to say about that because I've said it. I've had massive problems with it. All the way down to the changing of the colors of the lightsabers. All the way to changing the colors of the lightsabers. Yes. He changed the canon from the book in the Tales of the Jedi. At least you can admit that he made changes from the canon. And yes, that is supposed to be 100% canon. You're right. You're technically right based on what you're saying here. But to say that nobody had a problem with Ahsoka's book being retconned. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. So let the creators tell the story they want to tell. No. I've been critical of both of these things that you're saying. So sorry, I don't come into your category because if I, maybe Star Wars Theory, this is directed to Star Wars Theory because he definitely did enjoy Ahsoka. Well, he says that it's got problems, but he still gives it for the season, like a total of 8 or 9 or something out of 10. That's a success. Great success. Then we've got this one back again. We're not going to play it again, though. You've already heard it. We literally couldn't ask for anyone better to take Star Wars into the future. Leslie Headland. And the final nominee is also this one, where the math just doesn't add up. 85% of people who have seen The Acolyte love it. 85% of the people who say it's bad haven't seen it. Hashtag renew The Acolyte. They're your 4 nominees for this week's Seal of the Week. Let me put the poll in the chat. Still got 50 people here. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. Smash the like button if you haven't, please. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, please. What am I doing? Seal of the Week. Okay, so poll is in the chat. Get your votes in. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Now, the video that we're going to watch is on Star Wars Outlaws. So there's been a lot of controversy, you could say, behind the release of this game. Ubisoft is doing horribly. Obviously, they've got problems with this game, and they've also got problems with Shadows, Assassin's Creed Shadows. They're going to have a terrible time with these two games. But there's been, obviously, there was that 10-minute release. I think we talked about it 2 weeks ago. I can't remember exactly, though. But it looked horrible. And we're just going to take a look at this. It's a minute long. Did I? Sorry, no, I didn't read it. We get a deeper look at the world of Star Wars Outlaws with the cast and crew. Here we go.
It's really...
All right, before we get into the talking, I just want to take a look at... See, that's the chick that plays the main character. It's just interesting that they do that to the way that they make the character look. It's a bit getting this one day, all right, Rhino? No, I'm not buying the game. I'm not playing the game. No one buy it for me because I'm not getting it and I'm not playing it. And I'm not buying Shadows either. I will play Ghost of Tsushima if I'm going to play a samurai game. Let's continue.
It's really exciting to step into the world of Outlaws because this feels like Star Wars, but you're in it.
We wanted to have that sort of main journey for K-Vest, but it also meant that we wanted to encourage players to explore the first open world Star Wars game.
There are very seldom stories being told through this perspective, especially K-Vest being a young thieving scoundrel.
This job, it's a death wish. I'm in.
Her and Nyx jump on this adventure, and her dream is what takes her far.
We tried to put our spin on it and create something that was just a little bit fresh and new when you enter the Star Wars galaxy, especially a droid. It's amazing.
It's invigorating. It's exciting.
They have written and fleshed out this beautiful journey.
I think you're going to enjoy it.
I don't know what could feel more exciting than that.
I'm a little pissed that D. Bradley Baker is a part of it. He did a great job with the clones. Giving them all different, making them sound similar, but making them all different, and giving a lot of them all different personalities, even through the way they talk, the way they act. He's the voice actor for Nyx, the droid, and Jabba the Hutt. There you go. I wonder what his Jabba sounds like. Interesting. This I wonder how many copies of this game they're going to sell. Never pre-order a game. I pre-ordered a game, and I don't think I'll ever pre-order a game ever again. I can't remember what game it was, though. I haven't played any games in ages. Like, ages. I've actually bought Ghost of Tsushima. I haven't even opened it. I haven't even played the game yet. I mean, with the Acolyte and everything, I didn't have time, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, I haven't streamed any, but I also haven't, I haven't even played, like, offline. Like, not, when I say offline, like, not streaming. I haven't played anything in ages. I think the whole thing with Helldivers kind of burnt me because I was so into that game, and then they completely fucked it. Not good. Not good at all. Okay. So yeah, I don't really like that game. I'm not getting it. I'm not playing it. And don't buy it for me. If anyone was considering like gifting it to me on Steam or whatever, don't do it because I'm just not playing it. I don't have any interest in playing it. It looks horrible. And this is the other thing too, is they even the cast there, they're talking about how it's like got a compelling story or, whatever with this K-Vest chick or whatever. She's driven by that story. And I'd say that like the last two Star Wars games, Star Wars Survivor and Fallen Order, both of those games' stories were, I'd say the first game is better than the second game's story, but the first game is clunky, but also too, the story's not great. But the second one's story is horrible. It's got the connections to the High Republic. They're obviously trying to make this High Republic a bigger thing than they just don't have the fan base. Even the new fan base that they've got don't care. I think a lot of even some of the new fan base that they've got are probably more likely to go back and read parts of the EU than they are parts of the High Republic. Yeah. Isn't that the really sort of the first Star Wars open world game, really? I mean, you could say that Star Wars Outlaws and Star Wars Jedi Survivor are sort of open world games. It's not like, it's this mission. You can roam around. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, on any map, on any part of anything that you want to do. Open world. Limited planets that you can go to, but I'm sure that's the same thing with... I guess there might be a little bit more open world, but you get side quests and stuff like that in Fallen Order and Survivor. So I don't really know. Is this really the first open world game? Star Wars open world game? Chat, do you think that KOTOR is considered open world? Just put a Y in the chat if you do. Let's see, how's this poll doing? We're going to wrap this up pretty soon. The poll's doing all right. We'll wait a little bit longer. KOTOR is open world. Yeah, I would have thought so. So it's ridiculous for them to say this is the first Star Wars open world game. And I don't even think that KOTOR is the only one, really. Anyway, Star Wars is in such a bad place with every aspect of the theme park's bad, the hotel fucking closed down. The movies, not that we've had one for a long time, but the movies that they've come out with have been shit. The shows that they've come out with have been shit. The video games that they've come out with look, I've said it before and I'm not going to deny it. The gameplay of Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order are fun. It is fun. It's enjoyable, like, to play, but the story's just lackadaisical. It's horrible crap. Didn't like it. There's elements of it that are like, when you fight Vader in both games, when you fight Vader, it's like, man, I'd be dead in an instant. In an instant. But yeah, all facets of Star Wars right now is in such bad condition. So bad. It's a money pit right now. Well, yeah, it kind of is. But the the thing that blows my mind in regards to that and the loss of money that's been through this IP in the last, let's say, decade, the last 10 years, the investors, like, this isn't just owned by Disney, and the execs at Disney and the execs at Lucasfilm get to make like all the calls and all the shots. You know, there's investors that are invested in these things, and you know, if they're not going to see a return on their investment, then why invest? Surely it's the house of cards has to come crumbling down at some point. They're living in a glass house it's already got cracks in the glass. All it takes is a little flick, you know, tiny little tap, and it just comes crashing down. Star Wars should be printing money. It fucking should be. Lucas under George, you mean Lucasfilm under George, allowed writers to have fun, but Disney, no, 100%. But see, this is the thing. Disney employs the activists. Disney employs the Leslie Headlands and the Charmin Obaid-Chinoys and the Dave Filonis. I'm curious about Jon Favreau. I really am. Just because we haven't seen him, we haven't heard from him. There's been no mention of him, really. I'm really curious. Really curious. Taker 610 for $5 says, hey, just because a planned yearly release schedule turned into 5 years without a single theatrical release doesn't mean it's in bad shape, right? Well, it's actually pretty crazy to think that they haven't come out with a movie. It's crazy to think that they haven't come out with a movie. And the amount of Disney Plus shows that they have brought out and how damaging they have been has really, really dampened the specialness, I think I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but how special like Star Wars is. Those events that you would go to the theater and watch a Star Wars movie, the newest Star Wars movie to come out. You know, we've only had those experiences really, well, for me, it's really only 3 times in my life. Maybe 4 if I count The Force Awakens, because that was, we were all so optimistic and excited. I don't think that there was really one Star Wars fan that wasn't excited. Maybe Ryan, because they decanonized the EU. You saw the writing on the wall. There was a few. Lethal's probably another one. But yeah, it doesn't mean that it's in bad shape. No. The hype was real. 100%. The hype was real. Actually, I kind of like doing this. Just like, maybe we'll try and do this a little bit more. At the end of the streams, once we've gone through the topics, we just sit and chat. I do need to go, though, because I need to eat something and then going over to Justin's channel to finish off the Plagueis book. I will say it. It is... It's okay. I won't say it. Let's end the poll. We got 25 votes in. That's good. That is good. That is good. Take a 610 for another $2. I don't know what that word is. The epitome? Man, I'm probably butchering that. Of Disney Star Wars is Vader in a hallway. Optimum? Optimum. Is that the optimum? No. I don't know. I fucked it up and I'm retarded. But yes, the hallway scene for Disney. Hold on. Epitome. Thank you. Thank you. Epitome. See, you guys help. You guys are helping me. Fucking the epitome of Disney Star Wars is the Vader hallway scene. Yes. Yep. And the thing is that's what everybody always references. And that's the only thing that people reference really from Rogue One. It's really all that people reference from Rogue One is the hallway scene. Imagine if it didn't have the hallway scene. What would people think of Rogue One? John's laughing at me. I love chat too. Yes, I think you all know already. I'm dyslexic and retarded. And when there's words that I see that I haven't seen much of, like epitome, yeah, my brain does fucking fart. Anyway, let's wrap up the poll. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to share this. I had no idea I'm new. You might not be, but if you haven't heard me say that I've got fucking bad dyslexia, because I say it nearly every week because I nearly fuck up every week. Even with the hallway scene is stupid. I sort of agree. There's actually problems with the hallway scene. And people have talked about it, like, why didn't you just grab the disc? Like, use the force to hold on to the disc. And it's, he does say in A New Hope that they were beamed aboard or something. I can't remember exactly. Anyway, let's end the poll, shall we? 26 votes. There is a tie in there, but it's a tie for second place. All right, here we go. So, in last place with 19% of the vote was number 4. In second place, or second to last, second place, with it was a tie with 23% of the votes each, and that is number 1 and number 2. And the winner of this week's Seal of the Week with 34% of the vote, haha, yes, she isn't the right person. But yeah, congratulations, May Hose. Okay. Congratulations, you're this week's Seal of the Week.
I'm the Jedi.
Yeah. Yes, Rogue One as a whole is totally unforgettable unless it is the Darth Vader hallway scene. Yeah. And that's why, like, for me, Andor is also like, I mean, Andor has problems. We've talked about the problems that are in Andor, but just don't really care about the character enough. Who cares? What, he's going to find his sister, and then obviously he dies in Rogue One, and his sister's going to carry on his legacy. So we get the female Andor. They're going to race swap. They're going to gender swap, Andor. What's the bet? Like, I honestly, you think that I'm kidding? Like, it's the truth. That's probably what they're going to do. It's probably what they're going to do. Or they do an offshoot of that chick that you sort of think is a bit of a love interest for Andor, and she gets tortured. That one. She gets tortured by the lady that doesn't open her mouth. She likes to show her teeth. If you remember my reviews of the teeth lady. Teeth. Anyway, that's it. I'm going insane. I'm going delusional. Yes, go and join us over on Star Wars Marvel Purist channel. We're going to continue our discussion of Plagueis. Hopefully we can get through it. But I need to quickly eat something and then go over and hang out with him. So we'll catch you over there. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out, and thanks for your patience over this last 2 weeks. Videos will start coming out again very, very soon. Streams will obviously continue. You can also catch me tomorrow night, or depending on where you are in the world, Saturday morning, for Full Aussie. We weren't able to do Happy Hump Day this week due to my circumstances, and other people had some personal shit going on as well. But we will be back for Back of the Ute tomorrow over on the Full Aussie channel. So if you're not subscribed to the Full Aussie, go and check that out. And then obviously you can catch me on Flashcast this weekend. I need to talk to the guys about next week's Happy Hump Day because, like I said, I've got my grandma's funeral on Wednesday, and we usually do Happy Hump Day on Wednesday, and I don't know how I'm going to feel after a big day of sad. Anyway, thanks again, guys. To the people that come in, rewatch the streams, the replay watchers, appreciate you. Smash the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, and take it easy. We will see you over on Star Wars Marvel Purist channel for the final couple of chapters of Plagueis. Thanks, guys. Bye, everyone.
Put a ticket in and make a name gay!
They came bounding over.
Fuck off! Disney! You fucking cunt!
A few minutes? Are you kidding? At the rate they're gaining?
No, what is it? You have to shoot this. Traveling through hyperspace is like dusting crops, kid. Without precise calculations, we fly too close to a store. They're bounce into a supermarket and then...
Yeah.
Be a hell of a mess.
What's that?
Watch. You're losing your deflector shields. Go strap yourselves in. Be careful on the way out.
Yeah, sure. I'm taking very cautious.
You go away.
We bounced too near a supermarket?
G'day, guys, and welcome.
Oh, that was the wrong one.